Since we're close to that arbitrary point in our cycle around the sun, where most of us decided to increment the cycle counter, I thought it's a good opportunity to talk about dates, or rather, how easy it is to screw up date formatting. Usually, you should format the date based on your user's preference on both language and locale. I, for instance, am a user who likes their dates to be formatted in the Austrian standard, which is day, month, year, separated by a single period. But if the name of the day or the month is written out, I would want them to be written in English, so it matches the rest of my system. So please don't infer the language from the locale or the other way around. But let's say you need to print the validity of a public transport ticket, and you can't let every user decide on the format that gets printed on the ticket. Ideally, you would use the one format to rule them all, which is of course year, month, day, as defined in the ISO 8601 standard. I, for instance, use this to prefix all my photos and videos, so if I sort them alphabetically, they are also sorted chronologically. Now, how would we do this in Java? As a regular developer, you might ask a chatbot, which was trained with data scraped from Stack Overflow, so it probably recommends something like the simple date formatter. And this one is already misleading, since date formatting is anything but simple. But we don't want to use the American format here, but as I said, the ISO standard of year, month, date. So if we use this simple date format and print out the current date, which we would do like this, it should print the year, month and day of today, which is of course the 31st of December 2025. The issue here is that we used the week year instead of the calendar year. And even our IDE gives us a warning saying that this is not the pattern we were looking for. So if we just replace this with lowercase y's, the date should print just fine. Now you're probably wondering, what is a week year? The week year is defined as the year the current week belongs to. And since the Gregorian calendar defines the first week of the year as the one that has at least one day within the new year, the last few days of December sometimes already belong to the first week of the next year. Now this again depends on what you define as the start of your week. And since this JVM is running on English standards, this Gregorian calendar thinks the first day of the week is a Sunday. Now there is a variant of the Gregorian calendar called the ISO calendar, which you can access by using the calendar builder in Java, which you should definitely not use anymore if your year is 2025. So this calendar defines the start of the week as a Monday, independent of your locale. However, this calendar also defines the first week of the year as the one that has at least 4 days within it. And nobody outside of the finance sector is using it anymore. But let's get back to the issue of printing dates on a public transport ticket. This bug occurred to me in a previous team I've been working in. And if I recall correctly, we even wrote a test for this edge case. But we just happened to pick a year where this doesn't make a difference because the calendar year and the week year aligned. So what can we learn from all of this? First of all, of course, always treat warnings like errors. And if you happen to build an API or a library that is intended to be used by others, think really carefully about your naming and your documentation and how it might be misinterpreted. Because once others are using your code, it is super hard to change things. And sometimes the only fix might be for somebody to come along and put up a big yellow warning sign. That's all I have for today. Have a great 2025 or whatever value your calendar is currently at.